It is time for the Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show. Coming up on today's show, Mark and I will be talking about supersonic flights coming to an airport near you. Europe delaying the start of ETIAS again. It's the news story that keeps on giving. Holland America Line commits to year-round cruising in Europe, and we are just at the start of hurricane season, and we're going to help you navigate the Caribbean. Let's start the show.
The Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show presented by BluePlanetVacations.com contains travel deals, promotions, and offers that may be time-sensitive. All offers and information were accurate when the show aired. Travel deals and offers change constantly and are capacity controlled and subject to change without notice.
Explore your world. It's the Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show, presented by BluePlanetVacations.com. Call or text the show now, 801-649-3700, 801-649-3700. And check out the podcast at InsideTravelTalk.com. And now, here are your hosts, Patrick Wiscombe and Mark Faldmo.
Back from the great city of Denver, Colorado. Welcome to the Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show. Hello there. I am Patrick Wiscombe alongside Mark Faldmo. Actually, he was the one that was in Denver, Colorado. Coming up on today's edition of the show, we will be talking about supersonic flights coming to an airport near you. That is great news. That's going to be something when you can actually take a supersonic flight and actually get in there in, what, half the time, a quarter of the time, Mark?
Yes, a lot quicker.
And a whole lot more expensive, probably.
Probably, yeah.
Europe delaying the start of ETIAS once again. We have been doing this show for nearly 3 years. And this is the story that just keeps popping up about every, 6 months or so?
About every 6 months, it seems.
Yep. Holland America Line is committing to year-round cruising in Europe, and we are just at the start of hurricane season. I guess technically it started, about a month and a half ago? June?
About a month ago in June, yeah.
And we're going to tell you how to navigate the Caribbean this hurricane season. And of course, we always have the travel deal of the week in this opening segment of the show. And thank you for taking the time to stop and listen to this award-nominated, but we haven't won yet, travel podcast. We have high hopes for the show.
Yes.
The entire purpose of this radio show and podcast is to help you plan and book your next vacation, or we're just going to give you some ideas of where you might want to go on vacation next. And we're presented by that man's company, Mark Faldmo, BluePlanetVacations.com. Let's get right to the travel news, shall we?
Let's go.
All right. Europe is in high demand right now. I know it's hot over there, but we are in the middle of Europe visiting season. Is that fair to say?
That is. Yeah, right. Smack in the middle.
Europe is delaying the start of ETIAS until at least 2027. Let's just get an explanation of ETIAS. What does that stand for, and what's the significance of this story for listeners who don't know?
Yeah, so the ETIAS is an electronic verification system. So basically, they want you to validate your passport before you travel. It's mainly just to get fees. So they charge a $20 to $30 fee where you put in all of your information and get approved to travel to Europe before you go. This has been delayed several times. I think this is the fourth or fifth time it's been delayed. But I think the reason why they're delaying this is because the EU in January just started their EES system, which is the entry and exit system, which is where you basically check into the EU and check out when you arrive. It's biometric screening. You get your picture taken, your fingerprints and all of that. But it is such a slow process. For instance, in Lisbon, there have been some days where that exit line to get from your flight out to the baggage claim has been 7 hours.
What are they going to do with all the baggage?
Yeah,
seriously,
it's crazy. And then in Milan, because of 3-hour border queues, they've just left planes out on the tarmac because There's no room in the airport for the passengers to get out. They're delaying the ETIAS because they're having so many issues with the EES. I know that's confusing, all of the acronyms there, but it's just been a mess. When I landed in Stockholm about a month ago, it took us 2.5 hours to get through, and we were the only flight. There was one flight. There was no one in line. We were towards the end of the line, and it took us 2.5 hours to get out. Our driver we had almost left us because he was waiting too long. So it's bring your patience if you're going to Europe, mainly for the entry and exit system. But the good news is, at least for another year, you won't have to deal with the ETIAS system.
Pack your patient pants.
I do need to make a distinction because the UK does have a system where you do need to pre-put in your passport information to visit the UK. But for EU nations, you don't have to do that now.
ETIAS, EES, CODs, BFDs, LSDs, or SOBs, please.
Yeah.
Some assembly required. Batteries not included. The FAA is beginning the process to allow supersonic flights. I really want to take advantage of this, and I realize that it's going to hit us pretty hard economically. I'm okay with that. I just want to experience it.
Yeah, this is interesting because even when the Concorde was running, they didn't allow supersonic flight overland. Planes could only go supersonic over the water.
Oh, really?
Now they're considering allowing it overland. There's a new company called Boom Supersonic, and they've completed a prototype where the supersonic boom is not audible on the ground.
Oh,
and
interesting.
So they are hoping to turn that in. They're working on a supersonic jetliner based on that. And then NASA's also got a few prototypes out there that kind of have a similar thing. And so this current prototype plane goes Mach 1.4 at an altitude of 55,000 feet. So that's about twice the speed of a regular flight, a little bit more than twice the speed, and about 20,000 feet higher where you'll be flying. So if this comes to fruition, it will be amazing. And you can probably get New York to LA in about 2 hours in that. So
they won't even be able to get service out the door. Put your tray tables up, please. We'll have to test drive that one. I like that.
Yes. Yep.
Hurricane season goes between, if memory serves, I think it's June 1st of every year to, I think is it the 1st of November or the end of November?
It's November 30th, the end of November.
Okay. We're about 30 days into the hurricane season. And so we want to talk about navigating the hurricane season if you're headed to the Caribbean.
The reason why I put this in here is because this week I've had 5 questions about hurricane season, whether it's cruise or land vacations. Cancun is a big popular tourist spot that can be affected by hurricanes. There are a lot of misconceptions out there. So I really wanted to cover this just to get that out there. Hurricane season is June 1st through November 30th. One thing is it doesn't mean the storms are consistently affecting the Caribbean. Some people think I don't want to go because the weather's bad all the time. The reality is many travelers have perfect weather when they're there during hurricane season. Yeah, it's hot and humid, but you have good weather. The highest risk for hurricanes is mid-August through October. So it's only kind of that month and a half when the highest risk is. The other months, you can have some impacts, but not as much. I've been through 2 hurricanes and several tropical storms in Cancun. And Heather always likes to bring out this picture of me in one of the infinity pools, private infinity pools in a resort, sitting out there swimming in a tropical storm. And it's
fun.
You can make it into an interesting part of your vacation if you do happen to be there when there's a hurricane. A good travel insurance policy can protect your investment when weather affects it. You have to have purchased that before there's a named storm. If you purchase it after, travel insurance won't protect you because they know you're just buying that to get out of your trip. So you do have to pre-purchase the travel insurance, usually within 14 days of your original purchase of your trip for that to be affected. And this is also a reason why working with a good travel advisor can make a good difference. There are lots of different travel plans out there, so we can help you choose the right travel insurance for your trip.
Which, by the way, did I use Travel X last time
You
for
did.
travel insurance? Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't have to use it, but that's fine.
I highly recommend Travel X. There are some other good ones that have some really good tropical storm and hurricane policies as part of them. One of the things about traveling during hurricane season is it's when you can often find the best values of the year. Because there's lower demand. Resorts are frequently offering significant discounts. Airfare's less expensive. So if you're willing to accept a little bit of flexibility if needed, you can often get a nicer vacation for less money. And then one last thing, cruises operate year-round in the Caribbean. Cruise lines will just change their itinerary. So you might not go to the places you thought you were going to. Safety is the main concern of the cruise line. So the cruise most often will still go, but you might have slight changes in ports on that if there is a hurricane, and still have a good vacation.
We want to do a hotel spotlight. This time we're going to highlight 2 hotels from a caller. Was this Jane? I think it was.
Jane. Yeah.
She goes, I want to go to Fiji, but where would you recommend that I stay when I'm in Fiji?
So there are 2 hotels that are my go-to hotels for Fiji. I do have about 6 or 8 that I really like, but these 2 kind of fit every situation. The first is the Outrigger Fiji Beach Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
And the second is the Castaway Island. Let's start with the Outrigger Fiji Beach Resort. It's located on Fiji's Coral Coast, which is on the main island of Fiji. It's approximately about an hour and a half or so from the airport to the hotel. Most of the time, the flights from the U.S. anyway are overnight flights. You arrive at about 8 a.m. So then you transfer to the hotel. You're still maybe a little bit too early to check in there. It's really good location. The reason why I recommend the Outrigger Fiji Beach is because it has beautiful white sand beach with probably some of the best sunsets over the Pacific. It's a traditional Fijian resort, so it creates that authentic island atmosphere, brings a lot of Fiji culture into the hotel. And this one is a good all-around choice. It's good for families, couples, multi-generational vacations. The rooms are large. They have a regular hotel section, and then they have kind of more individual unit sections or duplex types of accommodations. And it's situated on a hill, so the beach is down below, just great views. They have a great kids club. They have several restaurants that feature both local cuisine and international dining. And they offer several free complimentary cultural experiences with Fiji storytelling, weaving demonstration, traditional ceremonies. Just a great overall resort. It's also located near some of the best attractions. Just a few minutes away is a Sigatoka jet boat ride, Sigatoka River jet boat ride.
Yeah, you've done that.
I've done that, which is my favorite thing to do. So again, the Outrigger Fiji Resort is just a good overall choice.
What about hotel number 2? You have 5 or 6, but what's hotel number 2 in this case?
Yeah. Hotel number 2 is a really unique experience. It's the Castaway Island, Fiji.
Oh, I've heard you talk about this one.
Yeah, we've talked about it. It's actually a few miles away from the actual island that the movie Castaway was filmed on. It's located in the Mamanuca Islands, which is an island group off of the main island. So how you'd get there is once you arrive to the airport, you're then transferred over to the port, and it's about a 30-minute ride by a high-speed catamaran. Or if you really want to experience, you can take a 10-minute helicopter ride transfer to the island.
I'm not sure. You know what? I would probably say boat on that one.
I like the boat.
Yeah.
The one thing that's a little bit hard after an international flight is it's a wet feet landing. So you have to kind of wade in to the resort. So just be prepared to take your shoes off and walk into the beach to get to the lobby.
I'm okay with that.
There's not a pier there. So it's a great experience. The Rival is part of the experience to the hotel.
Oh, yeah.
It truly is a private island resort. I think they have 40 or 50 rooms there. They have garden bures up to the beachfront bures. They don't have any over the water, but where my room was, I'll actually have to post this online. I'll probably repost this. One of the most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen. I just put my phone in a time lapse and from this resort, and it was amazing. And so look to the Blue Planet Vacations Facebook page, and I'll post that sometime this week. The whole island, it's a small island. You can walk all the way around the island probably in about 30 minutes. There's a hike up to the top of the mountain. There's coral reefs, a great big, huge beach there. Great snorkeling just right off the beach from the hotel. If you're a scuba diver, there's really good opportunities nearby. It is by a great reef section for scuba diving. And this one is more, for couples and honeymooners, but they also do take families. And this is where your kids would get a really authentic island escape. So it is a family-friendly resort. There's no cars, no crowds, very little outside distraction. It's just nature and the ocean. They also offer complimentary kayaks, paddleboarding, snorkeling equipment, and then some of the similar cultural demonstrations that we talked about at the Outrigger Fiji. And so if you want a postcard perfect South Pacific experience, Castaway Island is what first comes to mind for me.
Castaway Island in Fiji. And then the first one we talked about was Outrigger Fiji Beach Resort. Always in this segment is the travel deal of the week. I have to assume that we're talking Fiji here.
Yeah, we'll just stick with Fiji.
Okay.
Last week we talked about the stopover program that Fiji Air has. So you could use these hotels on that stopover program. And this offer also would apply to that. But you can save up to $400 on Fiji vacations that include round-trip air and a minimum of 5 nights hotel. You have to book this by July 15th, so it's pretty close in.
Is 5 nights enough to visit Fiji, or do you need a little more time?
I would say probably at least 6 nights. But 5 nights is enough to see Fiji. Mm-hmm. The one thing that's hard for some people is the time change. So when you fly there, you lose 2 whole days. So if you can only afford 7 nights off of work, 5 nights is how long you'll stay there.
Okay.
Just how the flights work out, because you lose 2 days going and you almost gain a day back coming, but not quite coming home. So
the international dateline, right?
The international dateline. Okay. Yeah. So the flights leave Los Angeles at about 11 p.m. at night. So within the hour, you're in the next day. And then about 8 hours later, you cross the international dateline. So you lose a whole nother day on that. So 5 nights is enough time. The shortest I've done it, I went to a 2-day-long meeting in Fiji last year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That was a long flight for just 2 nights there. I love Fiji, so.
Oh, I know. I know you do. Take advantage of that offer. Save up to $400 on Fiji vacations. That does include round-trip air and 5-night minimum hotel. You have to book by July 15th. So we're pretty close when this...
we are pretty close.
Yeah, when this comes out. Take advantage of that. Get the conversation started. Call Mark in the office at the break. 888-718-7717, 888-718-7717, and he will also put this on blueplanetvacations.com. When we come back, it is time for the Just Cruising segment, the part of the show that has made us famous around the country and around the world. This time we're talking about Holland America Line committing to a year-round cruising in Europe. And of course, we've got the cruise deal of the week on, who is it? Is it Disney? Yeah, I think it is.
Disney. Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about that when the Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show continues. My name is Patrick Wiscombe. He is Mark Faldmo. Thank you so much for allowing us to be part of your week. We will be right back.
Helping you get out and see the world. You're listening to the Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show with Patrick Wiscombe and Mark Faldmo, presented by BluePlanetVacations.com, America's best travel advisors. Book your vacation now. 888-718-7717. 888-718-7717. The show will continue after this.
Inside Travel Talk is brought to you by El Dorado Spa Resorts. Escape to Cancun's Riviera Maya with El Dorado's more inclusive experience, featuring gourmet dining, premium drinks, beachfront luxury, and unforgettable extras like snorkeling, beach clubs, and curated excursions. To start planning your all-inclusive escape to El Dorado Spa Resorts, contact Blue Planet Vacations at 888-718-7717 or blueplanetvacations.com.
Imagine watching the sun rise over Hawaii, sipping a tropical drink at an all-inclusive resort in Mexico, or wandering the charming streets of Europe. The best part? Your vacation can help pay for your next one. With Delta Vacations and Blue Planet Vacations, SkyMiles members earn miles on flights, earn medallion qualification dollars on vacation packages, and can earn up to 10,000 bonus miles on qualifying bookings. Wherever you're dreaming of next, let Blue Planet Vacations help you get there. Visit BluePlanetVacations.com to start planning.
Helping you plan your next vacation. This is the Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show, presented by BluePlanetVacations.com, America's best travel advisors. Call us now, 801-649-3700, 801-649-3700, and check out the podcast at InsideTravelTalk.com. Here's Patrick Wiscombe and Mark Faldmo.
That is the ship horn of Norwegian's Aqua. Welcome back to the Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show. Hello there. I am Patrick Wiscombe, and to all those boarding the show at this moment, ahoy, mateys. Ahoy. This is the Just Cruising segment, the segment of the show that has made us popular around the country and around the world. It is only about cruise news, and it's only about cruise deals. Coming up in this segment, we're going to talk about cruise buffet guests facing surprise charges for taking food back to their cabins. Whoops. And then, of course, we've got the cruise deal of the week, where we'll be talking about Disney Cruise Line. But let's start with the buffet, where guests are facing surprise charges for taking food back to their cabins. I do this all the time, and I've never run into a charge yet.
This is on Costa Cruise Line, which is part of the Carnival Corporation family. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if they're just testing this. A few years ago, most cruise lines started charging for room service because people were ordering the whole menu and then wasting a lot of food. So I still see a lot of people bringing food back from the buffet and plates of food outside of doors uneaten.
That's a problem.
I think that is one reason why they're doing this. They kind of framed it as a safety issue and a sanitary issue, which I don't really think it is. Costa says only trained staff can bring food to your cabin, so they want you to use the room service on that, I guess. But I think a big part is the uneaten, wasted food.
Just put it in your fridge, people.
Yes.
That's what the mini fridge is for.
Yeah.
Princess Cruises says that they are going to expand their presence in Singapore. I've never cruised in or around Singapore. Have you been there?
I've not been to Singapore. I think it's a really good option. Princess has typically been really strong in Japan and Asia in general. Now they're expanding to offer more Singapore. So they're going to bring between 2027 and 2030, they're going to eventually have 3 ships in Singapore, the Diamond Princess, the Sapphire Princess, and the Grand Princess. And they'll run on itineraries from 10 to 28 nights. Asia is a place on a lot of people's bucket list. some people have it on their bucket list that they don't know it's on their bucket list. There's just a lot of interesting things that can be offered. And their Japan sailings have been so strong that I think adding the second Asian port especially is going to help increase their cruisers from Australia. Since Singapore is so close, it's going to be good for that. Singapore is relatively easy from the US to get to. I think it's a great move on their part, and especially the longer, more in-depth sailings. I looked in January of 2028, which is they start at the end of 2027, but I chose a January of 2028. So that's about 18 months away
year and a half
from now. When that is. This is a 14-day Southeast Asia. It's Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam. And so it starts in Singapore, goes to Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, goes to Phuket in Thailand, which is a wonderful place.
Yeah.
Then it goes to 2 other ports in Malaysia, Langkawi and Penang. And then it has 2 days at sea and goes up to 2 stops in Vietnam. One of those being Ho Chi Minh City, which is a place I want to get to.
Yep, agreed.
And then it goes back to the port that's closest to Bangkok in Thailand, and then back to Singapore.
I'd want to go to all of those places.
Yeah, it's a great itinerary. And that particular itinerary starts at about $1,400 per person for an inside cabin.
Basically $100 a day.
About $100 a day.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's great shore excursions offered, very interesting cultural experiences.
Holland America Line, I was on Rotterdam last year with Nikki, is committing to year-round cruising in Europe. So you'll have to deal with the ETIAS, the EES. Mark can help you with that. What are the details?
Holland America is going to keep its ship, the new Statendam is the name of it, in Europe year-round. It's going to sail a dozen winter and early spring itineraries across Northern Europe and the Mediterranean. So that adds more than 70 additional European port days to Holland America's schedule. They're putting a heavy emphasis on overnight stays in these less crowded off-season explorations. In late 2027, and I've never heard of this on an ocean cruise, they are going to do a Christmas market sailing out of Rotterdam.
Really?
So it's going to feature stops in Stockholm, Helsinki, Hamburg, and Copenhagen, with overnight stops in most of these cities.
I think they'll do well.
Yeah,
especially
I
with
think
the Christmas
they will.
markets.
Yeah, and then, after that sailing, the ship is going to move down into the Mediterranean and do the Canary Islands with overnights in Istanbul, Alexandria, which is Cairo, with voyages in the Mediterranean starting up to 24 hours. One thing that's interesting is the overnight in Alexandria will be 37 hours long. So you'll have plenty of time to experience what Egypt has to offer. The Christmas markets on river cruises are successful. So why not on an ocean-going cruise? And then especially with overnight ports in most of those cities, you'll get to see the pyramids in Giza, the new Egyptian museum, to the library in Alexandria. There's so much to see there, where most cruises just has a day. You get to pick one thing. This one, you might be able to pick 2 or 3 things because you can do one of them in the evening.
Yeah.
So
let's get to the cruise deal of the week, always in the Just Cruising segment. And we're going to help our listeners save up to $1,500 on Disney Cruise Line. Disney Cruise Line has launched a promotion called Magic on the Horizon. And some of the details here is if you book by August 30th, 2026, and Mark can help you with this, you can save up to $500 per guest on select sailings departing between October through December 2026. And what are some of the other details, Mark?
Book by August 30th, although I bet most of these sailings will be gone by then because Disney is pretty popular.
Yeah.
Save up to $500 per person on select 7-night cruises. And that $500 is good for veranda or balcony staterooms. Ocean view staterooms save up to $400. an inside stateroom, save up to $300. I think this is an interesting promotion because most cruise lines only allow the promotion to be applied to the first two in a cabin to go to a third person. So in that balcony cabin, that $500 per person becomes $1,500 savings. This promotion is even good on some of the shorter cruises. We mainly talked about the 7-night cruises before, but on cruises of 5 to 6 nights, it's up to $250 per guest. So it can really benefit families to get that up to $1,500 off. And this will be on 3 of Disney Cruise Line cruise ships. So it'll be on the Disney Treasure or the Disney Fantasy, sailing out of Port Canaveral, Florida.
Love Port Canaveral. Yeah. Awesome place.
It is. Yeah. Or the Disney Wonder out of San Diego.
Has Disney Wonder always been parked in San Diego? Or are they moving that around?
They've been moving it around.
Oh, interesting.
It's a Mexican Riviera itinerary that gives travelers on the West Coast a good chance to get on a Disney cruise. So, and one thing, since these are in the fall, Disney always does a great job with themed cruises. So a lot of these are over their Halloween on the High Seas celebration in October or the Maritime Christmas cruises during the holiday season. So it's a great opportunity for Disney cruises.
And I don't think promotions like this come along very often, do they? Not like this.
No, not like this. It's rare to see a promotion on Disney cruise lines. One thing that's nice is Disney Cruise Line really does appeal to both kids and adults. Most people think kids, but there are adult-only areas on Disney cruise ships, which means you can send your kids off to the kids club and you can go enjoy a nice experience on Disney Cruise Line.
Off you go. Take advantage of that promotion. Call Mark in the office, get the conversation started. Can you do deposits on a Disney cruise? I think you can.
You can, yeah. You can do deposits.
Get the conversation started. 888-718-7717. 888-718-7717. Or you can go to blueplanetvacations.com. And then we also had the promotion where you can save up to $400 on Fiji vacations that include round-trip air and a 5-night minimum hotel stay. You've got to book that one by July 15th, so you'll have to get on that one. 888-718-7717. All right, our job is done, and now it's your turn to get out and see the world while you can, because you never know what curveballs life is going to throw at you. Live your life deliberately and live your life intentionally, and a sincere thank you from me and Mark for listening to the show. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.
That's it. That's the end of the show. You've been listening to the Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show with Patrick Wiscombe and Mark Faldmo, presented by blueplanetvacations.com. Book your adventure right now. Call 888-718-7717. That's 888-718-7717. Thanks for listening. Have a great week.
Inside Travel Talk is brought to you by AMA Waterways. From castles to capitals, discover Europe the way it was meant to be seen. By River, experience iconic destinations, immersive culture, and unforgettable moments, all in comfort and style. Whether you love history, food, or scenic beauty, there's a journey waiting for you. To set out on your own river cruise journey, contact Blue Planet Vacations at 888-718-7717 or blueplanetvacations.com.